Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
All right, happy day before Friday, everybody. Thursday. Well, I mean, we all like to say day before Friday. So we got a great show lined up this hour. Lots to talk about in the local area. And of course, in agriculture, there's a lot going on there with you.
As always, some producers are still trying to wrap up. One person told me he's done. But actually, on the Saskatchewan side, we're talking about the Canadian Agriculture Partnership, some $388 million available in various programs being rolled off over the next 5 years.
Very important information indeed. And of course, Elise, it's the Wheatland Football League final.
Yeah, we've all football all weekend long. Lloyd Comp's going to take on the Holy Rosary for their finals. So lots of leading up to excitement for that, for sure.
That is a title game indeed. But we're going to have all that and more coming up later on in the show. But right now, let's send it over to Brittany, who's out at World Class Gym.
I'm here at World Class Gym today, and we're going to be taking you through a few different workouts, whether you're new to the gym or maybe you're just getting back on the bandwagon. A few simple exercises to help start you off, as well focusing on some nutrition. And we're going to have our expert Renee Weinkoff taking us through. So stay tuned for more of that. But right now we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them to find out what's going on.
And the train runs through Lloydminster multiple times a day, sounding its whistle as a safety warning to traffic and pedestrians. Our Brittany Matika explains why seizing of this whistle could come at a big cost.
Day or night, if a train rolls through the city, it lets a whistle blast. Terry Barton with the City of Lloydminster says it's all done in the name of safety.
That's part of their regulations that they have to comply to. So as they approach a grade crossing, they sound a whistle to warn motorists and the pedestrian traffic crossing.
At this week's Governance and Priorities meeting, City Council discussed the idea of stopping the trains from whistling, especially at night.
I can understand why people would rather have the train whistles off than on, and typically in summer nights my window will often be open and I hear them. I've grown accustomed to them at this point, and after a long time, hearing them on a regular basis.
There are 14 crossings in the city. 7 would need to be upgraded in order to stop trains from whistling on their way through. Adding lights, bells, and gates would come at a large cost.
The full-scale citywide train whistle cessation would cost approximately $2.5 million.
Very much a want at this point, and I can understand it's an aesthetic, if you like, for the city. But in terms of allocating those resources as a high priority, I don't see it as a high priority at this time.
Council is still discussing the idea of upgrading the rail crossings and has asked administration to bring back more information to them to review at another meeting. Brittany Matika, Primetime Local News.
Well, with October being Child Abuse Prevention Month and November, which is Family Abuse Prevention Month, now is the time to talk about protecting members of the community. Although it can be a tough discussion to have, the safety of children is of the utmost importance.
It's bringing the community some awareness. Of course, there's varying levels of awareness in any community about whatever social issue is top of mind for that month, but our goal is certainly to bring awareness around the issues, whether it be child abuse or family violence or homelessness. We're certainly out trying to make people aware about what those issues are.
The Interval Home here in Lloydminster is hosting the first ever Breakfast with Guys, an event that encourages open conversation.
We're inviting men in the community to come and have breakfast and then enter into a conversation about how we can engage men and boys in the prevention and reduction of gender-based violence.
Angela wants to stress that the best thing anyone can do if they know of someone in an abusive relationship is to listen to them and to be there for them. And Halloween parties are coming up this weekend, and if you haven't found the right costume yet, you're not alone. Brendan Collins has more on why some have a hard time finding the right look.
The Halloween season is upon us, and the perfect costume is on everyone's mind. But to some, the season isn't just in October.
We've got Santa costumes. We're year-round. So if you can think of it, we're here for it. Dinner theaters, murder mysteries, plays.
As an artistic costume store, they're in no shortage of looks to serve. But for artistic dance and costume, they hand make the majority of their items.
Everybody's different, and so everybody needs a different fit. So you can come in, you can have it fit, you can have everything based to what your desires are.
To them, it's about making sure everyone's comfortable with their costume.
For many around the Halloween season, the package costume seems like the easiest option. However, not everyone can fit them like the models on the front of the package.
Some may be too big for certain costume fits, while others might feel uncomfortable with certain looks. To Selby, that's the biggest reason not to wear a costume.
Don't go with something that you're not comfortable with it for the whole evening. You're putting something on, you're going out in it for 8 hours. Make sure it's something that you're comfortable wearing. Don't wear a short skirt if you're not ready for a short skirt. Don't wear makeup if you're a face rubber. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do that don't make you uncomfortable for an evening.
Finding the right costume doesn't have to be a nightmare. For Primetime Local News, I'm Brendan Collins.
And now we're going to head it over to Brittany, who is at World Class Gym.
Renee joins us again for the next exercise in our workout. So now we're going to be working on our shoulders.
Shoulders, yeah.
So what exercise should we use to work those out?
Once again, keep it basic as possible. I'm just going to do a dumbbell shoulder press, overhead shoulder press. Very easy. There's not a lot to worry about. You don't have to worry about the movements. It's strictly up and down, so it's one of the easiest ones you can do. I like to always say you got to kick them up with your knees. You don't want to pick them up with your arms. You want to kick them up with your knees, take stress off your shoulders for the first part. Now, I like to go where you're bottoming out your shoulders. You can't go down any further. And you're going to press up, same thing, and touch them to the top. Every time you press out, breathe out. So, you won't see a lot of people doing that breathing, but in all honesty, it makes a massive difference. And no matter what, if people are looking at you while you're breathing heavy, trust me, you want to do it.
And now, does that just help getting more oxygen into your blood?
Right. More oxygen to your muscles, which means your body can work out better. You got more oxygen, makes you push harder.
And let's remind everyone at home, how many reps and sets of each workout should we be doing?
I like 4 sets of 15. If you're doing the same exercise back to back, you do 1 set of 15, 30-second break, another set of 15, another 30-second break. If you can, which you can't usually in most gyms, if you can do a circuit, you just go one after the other, but most of the time, you have to do one exercise at a time. So one exercise break, one exercise break for the 4 sets.
And why is it so important that you take that 30-second break, you have that rest time?
Just to give your arms, you'll never do a 4 sets in a row back. Your arms will just wear out. So it's just giving yourself the minimal amount of break that you could possibly give them.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for Renee. We're going to have more coming up from Renee later on in the show, but right now we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them to find out what's going on.
All right, thanks very much, Brittany. Take a look currently for us here in the border city right now, 9 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. Take a look at some of our records for this time of year as I turn to my other way here. 20 degrees back in 1990, and then the previous year, they broke that record for the minuses because it was -10, but we're nowhere near that, not yet at least. As we take a look at the satellite radar map, bit of cloud coverage coming in from the west to east, but it will be a mix of sun and cloud for the next couple days here. No watches or warnings to report for the area, which is always a good sign. As we take a look at some temperatures currently out west, 10 in Jasper, 12 in Edson, 11 in Red Deer, and for us here in the region, 6 in Lloydminster, 6 in Cold Lake, 5 in North Battleford. As we take a look at the next couple days, in next few hours, excuse me, in our region, -1 overnight in North Battleford, 10 tomorrow in North Battleford as well with a mix of sun and clouds. And taking a look at Cold Lake, 6 currently right now, as I mentioned earlier, -1 overnight with some cloud coverage. And tomorrow they are going to be at 10 degrees with some sun and clouds with the winds coming in from the northwest. And for us here in Lloydminster, -2 overnight with some cloud coverage. And tomorrow will be a nice 11 degrees for the day. As we take a look at the next 3-day forecast, 13% chance of precipitations though on Saturday, but we're getting a high of 9 and a low of 1 there. And Sunday, it will be a little bit cooler as our low is at -3, but our high will be 7. The winds coming in from the southeast, but not as bad as we are like. We're still in the good weather field. We'll have more of that and more coming up later.
Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. A local oil field company is celebrating its 25th anniversary today. And our Cassandra Hornsby finds out the secret to their success.
Classic Oilfield Services celebrated a milestone. They believe the company is still standing after so many years because of the many different divisions they offer.
We have ups and downs in the industry all the time, and the oil industry is typical of that. So to remain relevant and be the success they are, there's many different divisions from the trucking and the rentals, the downhole tools, and the service rigs. So we don't always have to be firing on all 8 cylinders. It's wonderful when you do, but if one division is a little slow, the other divisions can support it.
Since the latest recession, Classic Oilfield has slowed down and this has become the new norm. But the hardest hit has been the cut in rates. With oil prices dropping, companies need to be economically sound. The service well division has cut down on rates, causing the company to cut down on their usual rates.
We're down about 35% on our rates, which does affect what we can do and how we can spend our money. So we've had some reductions, in staff and stuff, unfortunately, and just trying to be here and keep relevant.
Keeping in touch with their clientele and their needs, changing and evolving as needs change, and specializing in what the changes' needs are is what has kept the Classic Oilfield Services on track and running. They also believe working experience is what has kept them in touch with customer wants and needs.
30 to 40 years experience, and they bring all that experience together in the various aspects of the company, and we can apply that to our customers, whether it be with sound advice or the right product and understanding the timeliness and stuff of their nature of their business.
I think that even in these tough times, the local people like to support local businesses, and these guys here have continued to support local charities and local functions around this town, so I think it's only kind of like a, sort of like a karma, I think.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Cassandra Hornsby.
And now we're going to take a look at your stock market prices for today.
Welcome back. Funding is being made available for agriculture projects to secure the future of the industry. In this week's Agriculture Report, I get to find out that training is also available under a federal provincial program.
We have a list of eligible courses on our website.
For Saskatchewan, the Canadian Agriculture Partnership is a $388 million program to support agriculture over the next 5 years, especially in areas like water and environmental sustainability.
I think what they've done is they fine-tuned what used to be the Growing Forward program, so that in this kind of round 3 of funding, we've got focused funding for sustainable water. So we've got opportunities for producers to develop new water sources, be it dugouts, pipelines, or new water wells.
There's funding, for example, to decommission old water wells. Many producers are pleasantly surprised by these developments.
It's a 5-year program. This is the first year of those 5 years, so we're going out and actively promoting this program to producers so that they are aware.
Johnson was one of the guests at the recent Saskatchewan Cattlemen's meeting in Paradise Hill. She says there's also scope for training.
We also have what's called the ASK program. It's an agriculture skills and training program. So producers can go onto our website and find out what training is available, and most of it is focused on farm management, and they have funding available for producers to go and take training to improve their farm management skills.
The Canadian Agriculture Partnership is an investment in the future.
Well, it's an opportunity for the government to invest in sustainability. So whether it's, purchasing a solar panel to help efficiencies in cattle watering systems, or just to make farmers' production systems more efficient.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
That's our agriculture news, and just before Elise checks in with the wonderful world of sport, let's have a look at those ag prices.
City Center Auto Body is proud to offer the paintless dent removal system. This works by going behind the panel, working out small dents. Lloydminster's trusted auto body shop for over 35 years.
Welcome back. Taking a look at your sports now. Hundreds of football fans are expected at Armstrong Field this weekend for the Wheatland Final between the Lloyd Comp Barons and the Holy Rosary Raiders. The Barons hope to win their first league title since 2010, while the Raiders are eager to reverse that tough loss to their rivals a month ago. Josh Ryan reports.
Lloydminster's high school football powerhouses have had to fight the urge to look ahead on the schedule. Now, the day that both sides have worked towards is here.
I think we're pretty confident going into it. I like our chances. The guys are getting anxious leading up to it.
This is the last opportunity for many players on the field to compete in their hometown.
This game is quite a bit more to us than maybe just a provincial game leading up to the provincial final, because it is our last game and it's the last game in the Wheatland.
The Barons remain undefeated, though not without some close calls, which helps heading into a contest with high stakes.
I think we're a little more battle-tested. I was a little worried about how it would respond to being in a tight game, and now we've have a little more experience in that area. So I'm excited about if we do get in a tight game that we're going to be able to hold our own and take a deep breath and just play ball. So.
After the loss to Lloyd Comp, the Raiders have steadily improved in the week since, capped by a 40-0 shutout of St. Paul in the semifinal.
Really showed us that we have a lot to improve, and we've been working very hard ever since.
Through the first 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, we didn't ever feel like we were as good as we could be. But the last couple of games, we feel like we're starting to hit our stride and we're getting better every week, which this time of year is where we want to be.
Both teams will try to establish their offensive rhythm in the opening quarter, which could come down to how well players handle their excitement heading into the game.
I've always talked about keeping the kids on an even keel, not getting them too worked up. So it would be a little counterproductive for me to get them all fired up in the locker room, run out there for a 30-minute warm-up and have all that adrenaline.
I hope they can just channel it all in the right direction, get that energy going, and just play football. If we play really good football, I think we're going to be okay.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
Renee is now taking us through the next part of our workout. It's going to be focusing on our core. Now, he said that there's one exercise in particular that especially beginners should be focusing on, and that's the plank. So show us and tell us a little bit more about that, Renee.
Okay. The plank is my favorite exercise. The one thing you don't want to do is try to keep up with everybody else. If the guy beside you doing a 5-minute plank, don't do that. You're a beginner. If you can get 20, 30, 40 seconds on it, just be happy, remember what you did, and try to beat it next time. Don't try to do the 2 minutes, because you're going to start swigging into the middle. You're going to start hurting your lower back, and it just leads to destruction. So you just do what you can till it starts to hurt. Then next time, just try and beat it. So first of all, the number one thing, I always do them on the elbows. Some people do it on the hands. I always do it on the elbows. I want you to put it on your elbows, and I want to keep your body like a board. Like your back should be stiff as a board. You'll see so many people doing this, which is completely wrong, and you'll see so many people sagging down in the middle like this, which is terrible for your back and your hips. So stay up at that angle like that. Really important to breathe in and breathe out. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. You wouldn't believe how much that helps.
Now, what's a good time that a beginner could start doing a planking motion?
I would start right off the bat. Always, same thing on day 1 and day 2. I would be doing your planks at the very end of your exercise.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. I'll make sure that I'm incorporating a plank into my workout moving forward. And we are going to have some more from Renee coming up later on in the show, but right now we're going to head back over to the studio and check in with them.
All right, thanks very much, Brittany. As we take a look at this photo that was sent to us by Penelope, a gorgeous shot there over at Bud Miller Park. If you have photos you'd like to send to us, please send them to us over at tvnews@newcap.ca or on our social medias. We'll be happy to showcase them. As we take a look at some current temperatures right now, I did mention we were in the 6 range, so we're cooling down a little bit. So 6 in Marwayne and Lloydminster, 7 over in Bonnyville, 6 in Cold Lake and Lac La Biche, also 13 out at Edmonton as we switch over to the east. 5 out in Pierceland and St. Walburg and Meadow Lake, as well as Maidstone and North Battleford as well. Macklin is the warmest there in this part of the region at 13 degrees. As we head down a little bit more south, take a look at -1 over on Wollaston Lake and South End, as well as Laurent sitting at 0. Switching over to the Alberta side, Peace River 9, High River 6, as well as Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie and Slave Lake at 7. As we take a look at down south, Medicine Hat at 12, Lethbridge 13, as well as Calgary, Banff sitting at a nice 9. As we switch over to areas like Moose Jaw and Regina, they're sitting over at 9 and 10 respectively, as well as Estevan. Kindersley sitting at 12, Swift Current at 11. As we take a look at tomorrow's temperatures, 11, as I did mention earlier, so 11 for us in Maidstone, Marwayne as well, 10 in Vermilion, and 11 in Vegreville, and 11 also in Wainwright, and 10 into North Battleford. As we take a look at the school day forecast for tomorrow, 0 degrees around 8 a.m. with some cloudy skies. Recess 2 degrees with the sun just starting to kind of peak around there. And lunchtime, a nice 5 degrees where the sun will start to get a little more established. And then home time, it's no cloud coverage. It's all sun at 11 degrees. So it'll be nice weather for when you head home on the school day. As we take a look at the next 7 days, 9 on Saturday with 7 on Sunday, 5 on Monday with mostly sunny skies. And then Tuesday is going to be interesting because it's a 60% chance of a rain-snow mix. It's a high of 4 and a low of -1. There's a 60% chance there. 4 again on Wednesday, excuse me, with a 25% chance with cloudy skies. And Thursday at 2 degrees with a 43% chance of some precipitation. So we're still having some nicer weather, but it will get cooler heading into the beginning of next week. But still better than snow, if I'd say so myself. We'll have more primetime local news for you coming up after the break.
And now we're going to send it back to Brittany, who is at World Class Gym.
Renee joins us again, and now we're going to talk a little bit about adding some different supplements into our diet, as there is quite a few things that the average person is missing, and we're not just getting through our food intake, isn't that right?
That's right.
So we have with here a protein powder, a greens powder, and a multivitamin. So explain these products to me.
Okay. First of all, we'll start off with protein. I mean, everybody knows what a protein powder is. Everybody knows what a protein shake is. But first-time users, first-time people in a gym period, nobody understands how important this stuff is. Protein. 90% of people that go to the gym that are starters have no idea that they're only taking about half to a quarter of the protein they should be to get in the results and the change they're actually looking for. You can't get the results you're looking for if you're not feeding it properly.
So someone like myself, how many scoops of a protein powder should I be using after one of my workouts?
Well, for you it would be 1 scoop of protein, okay. But there's a lot of work to figure out how many grams of protein you need throughout your day, so when you need it and what kind you need, but the most important is your post-workout. Like you said, you'd need 1 scoop.
Is it important to refuel those muscles?
That's right, and to make sure that you're feeding them muscles.
And next we have a greens powder. So how would somebody use this?
Okay, so usually you want to take this during your morning, not after a workout. If you have it after a workout, they say it doesn't do its job properly. The acids that are in your muscles and everything, they affect this greens, and they don't let them work properly. So you want to make sure that it's before your workout, anytime before your workout.
And how many servings of vegetables is something like this going to give
Oh,
me?
geez, it's crazy. I can't remember, but it's your daily intake times 10. And it's got, all these products are really good. They got all your vegetables, your fruits. These ones here actually have your sea vegetables and stuff like that we ain't getting no matter how much we eat. And they really do their job in replacing whatever we're not taking in our diet.
And lastly, we're almost out of time here, but multivitamin, just take a multivitamin, make sure you're catching on all those extra vitamins and minerals that you're missing.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Everything you're not getting in your food, even in a greens powder, you can't get it in a food source. You need to go above and beyond and take a normal multivitamin to fill the void that you ain't getting.
Perfect. Well, thanks for sharing all that information with us, Renee. I know I learned a lot today. And right now, we're going to have to head back over to the studio and check in with them.
All right, so we posted to social media today the question of the day, which was, would you support the city of Lloydminster paying $2.5 million to eliminate train whistles at 7 railway crossings? We had a poll on Twitter. 91% said no. And the other 9 said yes. Well, a lot of the reasons that people said no was that, the money could go towards the wastewater treatment plant, doing stuff with the roads and other things that are around the city that we could do. So
snow removal, I think.
Yeah, snow removal as well. That's also a key
one.
thing, especially here in the border city.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of money for that, I
Just
think.
to stop someone.
And I like the sound, to be honest. I like how it's like soothing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it's a normal scheduled thing almost in my mind now.
I don't mind having $2.5 million. I'll go be the whistleblower.
Yeah, we'll go.
I can stand on the track and blow.
We'll have someone just stand on the track and just blow a whistle to warn cars and pedestrians.
I got a big trumpet even.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, it's time for that part of the show where we all love, and it's the pets of the day. As you send in your pets rather, and we showcase them here on Primetime Local News. As we take a look at some of them right now. This is Molly, sent to us by Wendy. Look at that fall sweater. She's ready for winter. As you take a look at our next pet, and that is Kiwi. Nice, very beautiful bird there, submitted by Tara. Yeah. Very nice name, very fitting. Looks like Kiwi kind of from the inside with those wings there. Except it's yellow, not green. This is Bigfoot. This is also submitted by a different Tara. And that cat is just really, really not wanting to do anything. Looks like she's just ready for bed at some point. And this is Miley with her little goggles on. This is submitted by Wanda. That is very, very adorable. And last but not least, this is Kinga, and this was submitted by Brandy. What a handsome fella that is.
Yeah.
If your photo was shown here today on Primetime Local News, you are automatically entered to win a Pet Pad gift certificate, which will be drawn on tomorrow's show at the end of the 2nd hour. So make sure you stay tuned for that and keep sending those pet pictures in.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Well, that's a wrap for us today at World Class Gym. Renee Weinkoff took us through a variety of different exercises, working a bunch of our different body parts. Whether you're a beginner or if you're just trying to get back into things, these simple moves will help you improve your overall physical fitness. As well, he took us through some of that nutritional things that we're missing in our diet, including protein powder, greens powder, and a multivitamin. Really easy things that any of us could add into our daily nutrition to make sure that we're keeping on track and keeping our bodies healthy. Now tomorrow, I'm going to be out at Oktoberfest, taking in the festivities at the Lloyd X, so please tune in and join me then. However, right now we're out of time and I'm going to have to send it back over to the studio to check in with them to find out what's going on.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
All right, taking a look at the next 7 days. 9 on Saturday, 7 on Sunday, 5 on Monday, 4 with a 60% chance of mix of snow and rain, 4 again on Wednesday, and then 2 on Thursday with a 43% chance of some precipitation. So it'll be cloudy, but hopefully we're still not seeing snow though, which is a good thing.
Let's just try to steal another week.
Promising.
Yeah, it does.
Really nice.
I'm trying to steal a whole week.
Just like
one
a whole
more
year.
Hold on to
like
it.
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we usually get snow by Halloween, right? Is that kind of how it
That's the
usually
tradition,
goes?
yeah.
So that's normally how it
But
goes. So
it's looking warm so far.
Yeah, so far.
Considering some -6s and -11s we've had in the recent past.
Exactly. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have yourselves a great night.
Enjoy.